Hey everyone, today we're going to make traditional shortbreads. So you put a half a cup of corn starch and a half cup of icing sugar in a sifter. And you're going to sift those things together. Now you'll notice here my sifter's not working because it is broken. So I had to improvise and use a colander to try to sift the ingredients together. But you know, you have to do what you have to do. You kind of have to sift this because the cornstarch and the icing sugar tends to be lumpy. And you also want to put your flour through that too to get rid of any lumps. You can see the lumpy bits in the bottom there. So add your flour, all-purpose flour, and then after you put them all, after it's all sifted, you just make sure it's all mixed together nicely. And then, of course, use 3/4 of a cup of butter, and there is no substitutes in this because shortbreads without butter I can't even imagine. Now this is the fussiest part of this recipe. It's one of the fussier cookies to make. It's kind of like making pastry. You need to get your butter mixed in with the flour and the sugars, and it's a bit fussy because it is hard to mix up. And sometimes the best thing to do is just to get your hands in there, just like you were making pastry. To me, I mean, you could keep mixing with a spoon or maybe with a couple of butter knives to try to chop it up and then mix it together, but with your hands is probably the best thing to do. And just like pastry for pies, you don't want to overwork the dough. You don't want to play with it for too long because in order for it to be flaky, you don't want to mix too much. So once it's mixed and you get a nice smooth dough, and it is a fussy dough to work with. Like I said, it's very crumbly and it likes to fall apart on you. So you have to be patient with it. And you need to chill it a little bit before you roll it out. So I like to cut it in a few pieces. And then just put it in the fridge for 15-20 minutes just to cool it off a bit. Then between 2 sheets of waxed paper, you're going to roll out one of the pieces at a time and leave the other 2 pieces in the fridge while you're doing this. And be very gentle because it does crack if you try to roll it out too quickly. And you roll it out to about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, depending how thick you want your cookies. And you roll them out. And then you cut out your cookies. Now this is a cutter I bought at a yard sale this year actually, and I realized I didn't particularly like it that much because the dough can't be too thick. So take out your cookie shapes and you're going to put them on a parchment lined cookie sheet. Parchment is a wonderful thing. You know, you almost never even have to wash your cookie sheets after you're done because they're just as clean as it can be when you're done. So you continue to cut the dough out and put it on your cookie sheet, and all the little scraps that are left, you can put them all back together and roll them out again to cut more cookies. If you find that the dough is getting too sticky, then once you roll it out, put it back in the fridge rolled out nice and thin, and it'll cool in no time and it'll be very easy to cut. And when you're done doing that, you're going to sprinkle on some decorations, and I find that sugar sprinkles are the best.